You're about to listen to Coach Saban's Wednesday Teleconference, where Coach Saban, of course, previews Kentucky, which will be Saturday at 11 a.m. in Lexington. Coach Saban also talks about the appreciation for winning, talks about this team overall, and tells a funny story about Kevin Still on the back end. Following Coach Saban, you have Mark Stoops, the head football coach of Kentucky, talks about Dallas Turner and the challenges of stopping Turner, and then also talks about Nick Saban. That's coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube.
Next up will be Alabama head coach Nick Saban. The Crimson Tide will travel to Kentucky on Saturday at 11 o'clock Central on ESPN. To ask a question for Coach Saban, please press 10 on your telephone's keypad now. And Coach, while we wait on these questions, if you could please take a moment to comment on your team as you enter the Kentucky game.
Yeah, well, we're all about getting refocused for this game. Kentucky's a very challenging team, very aggressive, tough on defense, do a ton of stuff on offense. Quarterback's a good player, running back's a good player. They got really good receivers. So, this is all about getting yourself ready to, play better, improve, and execute, when the game comes. And the way you do that is have really good preparation and practice.
For questions for Coach, press 10, and we'll begin with David Hale of ESPN.
Nick, thanks for your time. I'm curious if you could, I don't know how much you heard of Dabo Swinney's comments last week, but he mentioned you among them about the appreciation of winning among a fan base and not letting the pressure of always having to win every game overtake the joy of coaching. And you've been doing this for a long time. I know you get criticized if you even play close games sometimes. I'm wondering how you've handled that over the years and what you thought of what Dabo had to say.
Well, I didn't really hear what he had to say, so I can't really comment on it. But, the way I try to manage it is focus on the game that we're playing, trying to get our team prepared to play the best that they can play. Don't listen to the noise outside, whether it's good noise, bad noise, rat poison, whatever, and try to keep our team focused on the task at hand, as well as, you can have this go both ways. When you have success, sometimes you get complacent. When you get criticized, it's frustrating. But best thing I found to do is just not listen to it either way and stay focused on what's in front of you.
Do you have, sort of an inner circle of folks that, you trust their opinion? So, somebody can say something critical to you. I assume you're probably your biggest critic, but that you're listening to those people but can still filter out the outside noise.
Well, I think that's what you count on for your staff and, the people who work in the organization, whether it's, how you try to psychologically prepare your guys to, play to the standard that they need to play to create value for themselves as well as value for our team, and also all the coaches on the staff and individual players that, you need to talk to on occasion to try to get them to stay focused. So that's a full-time job. So we're not outside noise. To me, is whether it creates expectation or is criticism is really insignificant. I don't know what some guy puts on the internet that's sitting in his basement all day with nothing else to do. I don't know what that means to us.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
Next is Steve Moulton on WZZN.
Coach, appreciate the time today, sir. I've heard you say several times how much you like this team. What do you like most about this football team, Coach?
These guys have been really resilient. They've really focused on improving. They've got really good togetherness. I think they enjoy each other. They enjoy being around each other. And they get excited when they win. And so it's just a fun team to coach. I think that, they from the start, they probably had something they wanted to prove, and they worked hard to try to get to where we are right now. So now the question is can you sustain it and finish?
To specific, the offensive line group, I know a lot was made early on about number 74. If you could speak to his development and just the overall play of the O-line, Coach.
Yeah, well, they played their best game in the last game, I think, and they've improved all year long, and I think the chemistry has gotten better, the communication has gotten better, and the technical execution has gotten better. And I think if we continue to build on that, that would be a positive for our offensive team.
Thank you, Coach.
Next is AP Stedham of the AP and Kelly Show.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the quarterback for Kentucky, Devin Leary, and those receivers. How have they improved throughout the season, or have they improved in your eyes?
Oh yeah, I think they're really good players. I think they played well all year long. They've got a very diverse group. Barry and Brown's obviously really good players, very fast guys, a good returner as well. And Devin Leary is tough, competitive, good passer, does a great job of managing and doing what he needs to do to make their offense work, run and pass. And the guy's a really smart player and has done a great job of executing everything I've seen all year long.
And the other question was about their defense. What's different about a Stoops defense from the University of Kentucky?
Well, they play a 3-4 all the time. They play regular people, a lot, and they big zone team, very physical, do a great job of executing their scheme. They're really well coached, and a little different than some people play in this day and age, but they're really, really effective at what they do.
Thank you.
If there are any other questions for Coach, please press 1-0. Next, we have Glenn Gilbo of Outkick.
Hey, Coach, a couple of your players after the game Saturday mentioned that Coach Steele really jumped on him for that drive at the end of the first half. You usually get credit for that. I was just wondering, do you like it when one of your assistants kind of does that so you don't have to?
Yeah, well, it's I don't know if you saw my eye, but my eye's all red. So I went to the doctor, and he asked
Did
me,
hear
are
about
you
that.
coughing? Are you sick? And all that. And he said, well, it must be from yelling. So I guess I do like the relief of other people, sort of getting on players when they need it, not in a negative way, but in a way that is inspiring to them and gets them to play better.
Is that a little out of personality for Steele, or does he do that often?
No, he's pretty soft-spoken most of the time, but I think when he does, get on or say something, everybody listens.
All right. Thank you.
Coach, that's all for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
To ask a question for Coach Stoops, please press 1-0 on your telephone's keypad now. And Coach, while we wait on any questions, if you could please take a moment to comment on your team as you enter the Alabama game on Saturday.
Sure. Really proud of our team getting a victory this past week on the road at Mississippi State, a place we hadn't played very good. And game we really needed. We had coming off some 3 losses in a row, so really needed that win. And it felt like we had been playing better in certain areas the past couple weeks, and feel the same now. It's been a solid week of practice so far. Obviously, a tremendous challenge with having Alabama come in here, and a team that is, what I look at is a typical Alabama team, just extremely physical, great depth, playmakers at every level on both sides, and very, very physical football team. So we, have to make sure we have great practices this week, have really physical practices, and have to play at a very high level. So great challenge. A lot of respect for Coach Saban and what he's done for a long time, and our team will be up for the challenge and looking forward to it.
For questions, press 10, and we'll begin with Nick Alvarez of AL.com.
Hi, Coach. I was just wondering, when you prepare for Alabama, just the challenge of getting ready for Dallas Turner, and if he makes any difference than any other defensive line you'll face during the season.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that could wreck a game very quickly, and so he's a guy that you have to account for. We got to be very smart, with our protections, and quarterback's got to be smart with holding on to the football and making sure we're not holding on to it too long. He's a guy that could change it in a hurry. So, I think you got to be very conscientious of where he's at and try to have a great plan for him.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is Steve Moulton of WZZN.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well today.
Doing good, thank you.
On the Alabama defense in particular, that secondary, I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on how high a level do you think the Alabama secondary is playing this year, Coach?
Yeah, I think, really special. You expect that. It seems like it's year in and year out with Bama always having high picks, and even with the addition of Downs, the freshman, just adds another level. I think their nickel is a fantastic player as well, and more. The corners can always cover. So just a really tremendous group.
And I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, Coach. So I wanted to ask about the growth of Saunders, number 92, along your D line, Coach. How's that going for him?
Yeah, he's coming along. He's he's getting better, and he's a guy that has some ability, that has some quick twitch and some length, and so we need him to be able to continue to improve, and he's getting better.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Next is AP Stedham of the AP and Kelly Show.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing?
Coach, good, Coach. Good, thank you. Coach, what's been the difference in your passing game the last couple of weeks?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it always starts, with protection. We've been protecting better. The receivers and the quarterbacks, they've been working hard, and it's starting to see the results. Just trying to be more detailed, making sure we're on the same page, and just executing at a higher level. I think, part of it is, we got couple young wideouts that are really working hard to mature and to get better, and you're starting to see that growth on the field.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
If there are any other questions for Coach, please press 10. I think we have a follow-up from Steve.
I do, Coach. I did want to ask about it. It feels odd to ask this in November, but roster management, it feels like that's right around the corner. How much of that is ongoing right now, since December's right around the corner, Coach?
Yeah, you're right about that. We internally work on it and talk about it and look at it all year. There's some things that are out of your hands, but you try to have the best fix on it you can. You're correct. It's on our radar. It's something we look at, something we think about internally. We don't have any of those discussions with the players until it gets to be, after the last game of the year. At least the schedule they have in place for us now allows us coaches to be on campus following our last game. That's a change, I think just the last year, if I'm not mistaken. Last year was the first year, but that's a good thing to let us sit here in-house and have meetings with our players and our coaches and get a fix on our own roster before we start hitting the road and closing on guys for the December signing period.
And finally, Coach, I know you spoke about Coach Saban in your press conference earlier in the week, but and you spoke about your brother being on his staff, but of just trying to pull things from the program. What impresses you most about this longevity that Coach Saban has had of success?
We could talk about it at length. It's truly amazing what he's done, and you have to give a lot of credit to him. I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that there's a lot of people that have sacrificed for a long time to help in that support, but he is, truly the best and has done it for at a high level for a long time. So just pretty remarkable what he's done, and myself coming up through the ranks and watching him, and it's always been good to my family, and I just have a lot of respect for him.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys being here, hitting the thumbs up, liking, and subscribing. You can become a fan funder of this video by hitting the join button underneath this video or going to the homepage of this video and hitting join. I appreciate you guys being a fan funder. Check out any of our related coverage, and we'll catch you next time right here at Bama Football on YouTube.